What's up, baseball fans, and what's up, Met fans? Welcome back to Talkin Mets. Rob, how's everybody doing? Welcome again, guys, to another frenzy on our Saturday, the middle of March. We're finally getting some spring training games. We heard crazy news yesterday where two guys that were coveted throughout the entire offseason finally signed, and those guys are Carlos Correa and Nick Castellanos. Obviously, one of them affects the Mets, and the other one affects the NL Central, and for the most part, it affects the Yankees, and I will get into that in a little bit. So once again, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. We're talking Mets with Rob. Hit on that like button, guys. Hit on that subscribe button. Let's get this thing out to more people, more baseball fans. Let's have fun tonight. Let's talk about what our team needs and the disappointment of what has been slowly been taking place over the last week in regards to the New York Yankees and the New York Mets specifically. So, Correa signed in a shocker to the Minnesota Twins for $105 million for that contract every single year. So, that's a deal when looking at it from a Mets and a Yankees perspective that it could have easily been their sign. Easily, very easily could have been their sign. When I did the Correa thing about 5 days ago, I put why don't the Mets offer Carlos Correa 1 year, $40 million? Well, guess what? That 1 year, $35 million per year. We opt out. The Yankees could have done that, and the Mets could have done that. Could have done that. And that's my biggest problem with both teams. And afterwards, they're 100%, they were 50%, and they both in the set. They're acting like they are the best team in baseball. When it comes to the Yankees, they're the time they couldn't use Correa and let him off the field. It just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. And I just think viable for both teams. I just don't understand what the Yankees are doing. Basically what happened was the Twins duped the Yankees into taking the $50 million contract and took that to Carlos Correa. Like, the Yankees, if they were paying attention to the they could have probably seen what Carlos Correa was trying to do. And even with the similar to the intentional deal, but it was technically being similar. And when it comes to the Knicks, I was an advocate of the Knicks Carlos Correa. That how many times have the Dodgers signed somebody or traded for somebody who didn't have that talent? They found a way to play these players. Did the Dodgers really do it? No. They just did it. They know the market is going to do it. So they use trade center to shortstop. That's not the second basis because the 32 at first base. You always get the best player you possibly can. That's like figuring out where to play these guys. It happens all the time. The same way that a couple of years ago, and they had nowhere to play him. So he was a good player, and it made sense as a security guy. Guess what? He got hurt, and he won the battle. This is the thing that happens with the Mets. Okay, those guys know about it. Here's the other thing. When it comes to the New York Mets, and the Philadelphia Phillies, it's a great one. When the Mets are in the backfield, all right, I can understand moving forward. All right, you know what? I'm not going to look at the person or anything like that. Also, I already said you were around 5 for 95, 5 for 90. So I would just like no. Once again, you don't pick the division rival. Pick anybody you want, not even try to at least keep the price. You can't have to pick points for that. Now, not only does the Mets have Trevor, I'm sorry, the Mets, Phillies have Trevor, and Castellanos, and Real Mitchell, and Reese Hoskins in the top five. Okay, well, the New York Mets have no good lefty to face Trevor and Hoskins and Olsen. And that's the biggest problem we have with this Mets team is that it is really guys that were perfect for the ballpark in spaces. At the very least. I know there's guys like maybe more out there Antonio and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, guys, it seems like the next NBA can anyway what get better in their division and then you always to make the sense that they can economically and they don't have to make that kind of move. The next thing they have to think about how to really move is still to move. But there's so many other things that can do. And this is what the people step because they're going and now what is what is now this is how they go to get the goal. This is what some of the actually get so you know, when you everybody in the public, people Can you guys hear me now? Are we good? All right. Okay, you guys can hear me. All right. Sorry about that, guys. New mic, new mic. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I was ranting. I hope you guys heard some of that, but I was complaining about the Mets and the Yankees regarding Castellanos and Correa, which both teams should have at least looked at and seen what happened. So, all right. So I'm glad you guys can hear me now. All right, cool. All right. So I'm going to go back to the top of the list, guys, and say what up to everybody. Al, Aiden, Joe, Lane, Lindor, Karen, Rocky, Nelson, Andrew, Joe, La Potencia, Tegman, Vince, Rocky, Brian, Paul, Sledge, Brent. Continue to go down. I see another Robert, Subaru, Tom, Michael, another Robert, Brandon, and Sean, a member of Talkin Mets and Rob, Jason, Carlos, Paul. Continue to go down, guys. Give me a second. Christian, Carlos, Yippee. All right, I think we got everybody here. Let's see if I missed you. I'm sorry. Michael, another Michael. All right, I think we're looking good, guys. All right, so I believe that's everybody. And now I'm going to go through the comments really quick, and we will go from there, guys. So let's see what everybody's thoughts at the top of the list. Al still need a big bat. Yes, I agree. Again, Albert Pujols. That doesn't make sense for the Mets. Again, if you wanted to go after everyday DH, I would have wanted after Kyle Schwarber. It would have just made sense for the Mets. The Mets are in trouble. The Mets have put themselves in a spot now where they're probably going to go and try to get Michael Conforto back. And now the White Sox are supposedly in on him now as well. So now you're going to have competition to get Michael Conforto. And granted, I know Michael Conforto turned down a $100 million deal with the Mets, or at least that was reported. That at this point, it really doesn't matter. It's just a matter of if the Mets can get him back. Because honestly, we need his bat at this point. Because what else is really going to be the problem with Conforto or with this lineup if we don't have Conforto now? Like, who's really going to protect Alonso in this lineup? That's the biggest problem. Sorry, guys, I'm just getting. That's the biggest problem that I'm having right now. And I don't know what else they're gonna do. I know, are they gonna make a trade? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Aiden, what do you think about Luke Voit getting traded to the Padres? Well, it seemed like a necessary move, considering you signed Rizzo. But there was some people that were saying that they could have kept Voit, leave him on the bench, and every now and then spare Rizzo a day off. Hit Voit in the DH. But at the end of the day, they got the Padres' top ranked prospect that throws 102 miles an hour. So, I mean, Luke Voit wasn't going to play much anyway, and he got a top 10 prospect from him, from the Padres. So I don't think that's too bad. And a lot of people liked Voit, but it doesn't really matter. Aiden, when it comes to the talks with Oakland, I haven't heard anything. Again, I think Oakland's asking way too much, and I think the Yankees are going to have to pay a premium to get anybody from Oakland. I don't think Oakland's just going to give the Yankees, even if it's a decent package. I feel like the Yankees are going to have to overpay, and that's just me. Lane, at this moment, I think the Mets have to go after Michael Conforto just to get some type of offense back in this lineup, other than the big power bat of Pete Alonso. I just think there needs somebody to protect Pete Alonso, and that's the biggest thing right now. And I don't understand why the Mets didn't even try for Schwarber or Castellanos, only because the Phillies didn't care about draft pick compensation, right? And $25 million a year for a guy who had that type of production over the last couple of years, you have to do that. You have to at least try. Don't let the Phillies just get them and make them get better. It just doesn't make sense. And granted, I know the starting pitching for the Phillies and the bullpen is something that's always been a problem for the Phillies, and they really haven't addressed that except for Brad Hand and Jeurys Familia, which isn't the biggest upgrade, as we all know. So that's the problem that I'm having. And the big thing that the Mets need, they either got to trade for Josh Hader or trade for Taylor Rogers. They need a powerful, dominant lefty in that bullpen, because I don't want to see Tony Watson. I don't want to see Andrew Miller. I don't want to see Thomas Szapucki. I don't want to see David Peterson or anybody else that is on a minor league contract that can possibly make the team. I'm not going to trust any of those guys. I know Szapucki threw a couple of innings very well the other day. And also, I'm sorry, what's his name? David Peterson pitched in the intra-squad game as well, or in the practice game a couple of days ago. I don't see David Peterson as a bullpen arm, and it seems like the Mets are going that route, either with David Peterson or another lefty that they brought in a minor league contract. That's not something that I'm going to feel comfortable with Kyle Schwarber, Matt Olson, and Bryce Harper at the plate. I'm just not. And that's the other big problem that I'm having. Lindor, we should trade for Jose Ramirez. At this point, I really think it's going to cost a ton. Me and Joe were talking about this earlier today. The amount of prospects. Look at what the Braves gave up to get Olson. Jose Ramirez is about the same talent-wise as Olson and around the same age. That's what you're going to have to give up. So are you willing to give 4 of your top 15 prospects? I don't think the Mets are going to do that. So I would rather do what you can with Josh Hader, which is going to cost a lot less than Jose Ramirez. It's going to cost you, but you're going to get one of the best closers in the game. Now you have something to throw at when you have to face Harper and Schwarber and Olsen and other lefties that are going to be a pain in the ass in the NL East. That's what the Mets have to do. The Mets slowly but surely let these left-handers in free agency go off the borders over and over again. I mean, Chafin was the guy, and you let him go to Detroit. There's a couple of guys out there. There's, Tony Watson. There's, Andrew Miller. It doesn't do anything for me. Adam Connolly. There's Adam Morgan. They don't do anything. Every one of those guys, besides Watson, had over a 4 ERA, and that's not the guy I'm going to feel comfortable with in a big spot when Bryce Harper is up, or Matt Olson, or Kyle Schwarber, especially in that bandbox in Philadelphia. Lindor, I agree. Better wake up, Karen. Thank you so much, LGM. All right, so everybody, and yes, Andrew, and that's another thing. And the Braves also bolstered their bullpen with getting Kenley Jansen. That's a lot of money. What was it? 1 year, $16 million. That's a lot of money. I don't know if I would have went that far with Jansen. That's a lot of money for a guy who I only think can be a closer. I don't think he can pitch in late inning games. I think he's a guy who needs to be a closer, and that probably works out for the Braves because they could maneuver guys around. But if Jansen's going to be their closer, he's going to be fine in that spot. I don't think the Mets can actually, use him as a closer because I still think they like Edwin Diaz. La Potencia, yes, I am ready for the draft at 6 for our fantasy draft. Yes. La Potencia, see, that's the problem. We're not going to get Story because the biggest problem with Story is that if he plays second or third, we don't know how good he's going to be. I mean, if he would have been able to play second, he would be on the Red Sox right now because the Red Sox are interested in him, but they want to know that if he wants to play second because of Bogarts. And I'm not going to pay a guy because he's going to get a similar deal, not in amount of money, but a similar type deal that Correa got. A 3-year deal with a couple of opt-outs, 2-year deal after 1 year opt-out, something like that. All right, let's see. All right, let me just keep on going down. So my mic was messed up earlier, so I know you guys are saying that, so I'm just gonna keep on going. Michael, the horrible offseason. I know. I'm so surprised the Yankees didn't do get another pitcher at the very least. I mean, you got to try to, at least have some confidence in your rotation against these lineups in your division, especially the Blue Jays. And I don't know. All right, I'm just going to go past all the Paul. Nobody signed Conforto as of yet. I'm still going past all the microphone problems. All right. All right, I'm going to go all the way down. Yeah, sorry you couldn't hear my opening monologue, so to speak, but it was about me being pissed off at the Mets and the Yankees doing absolutely nothing when Correa and Castellanos signed. Victor. Hi, Rob. Did Story go to the Red Sox and how much? He didn't go to the Red Sox yet. They are interested in him, but there is a couple of other teams. Even the Yankees are looking back at him because they think he's going to take a similar deal to Correa with a lot of different opt-outs in between those contracts. He's not going to get $35 million, but he might get like 20 to 25 and, with opt-outs in that contract. All right. I'm still going past all the, you guys can finally hear me. All right. What else again? Victor, absolutely. They do need more. Look, the Mets had a solid offseason. It wasn't a bad offseason. They are better than last year. The problem that the Met fans are having is that are we better than the teams in our division? I said the other day, the Braves are better than us. They are the cream of the crop in the NL East. The Phillies, after making a Nick Castellanos signing, their offense is better than our offense. It's hard to compare. Their top 5 in that lineup is dangerous with Realmuto, Hoskins, Harper, Schwarber, and now Castellanos. That's a solid front part of the lineup. The Mets really don't have that. They got a speedy guy that's a 300 hitter in Marte. You're going to have Nimmo, who's an on-base guy. You have Lindor. You can consider him a power hitter, but he's really not. He's more of a gap-to-gap hitter. Hits a lot of doubles. He could still hit 25 home runs, yes. Alonso is the big power bat in this lineup. And then when you go down the list, if you're gonna whoever's gonna be the DH, Davis, Smith, Cano, doesn't matter. whoever you're going to put behind him, Escobar, yes, he can hit 25 home runs, but he is not the threat that teams are going to be worried about. And I continue to beat the drum on this. When Alonso's up with runners on, the teams that are facing the Mets are going to always try to pitch around Pete Alonso and let him get himself out. And if they don't mind walking him. They rather walk him than him hitting a 3-run bomb. They would rather load the bases for a guy behind them that's not as good without the threat of hitting the grand slam or hitting the home run. And you see that all the time. And I think that's a huge problem for the Mets. That's why I'm not thrilled about bringing Conforto back, but it makes sense at this point because you need something else in this lineup. At least Conforto, when he gets hot, you can't get him out. And that's the time you put him behind Pete Alonso. And that's what the Mets need to do. And there's nothing really else out there. I don't think they're trading for Jose Ramirez. I hardly doubt that. It's too much. It's going to cost them prospect-wise. And on top of that, what we need in the bullpen, which is the lefty, is going to cost us no matter if we get Hader or Taylor Rogers. And that's what they have to do. Yeah, you know what? Nelson, I don't know if the Mets were even involved. I know they liked Schwarber, but they never really offered him anything. They might have spoke to his agent, but that was about it. The same thing with Castellanos. I think the Mets were completely out on him. I don't even know if they talked to him. And that's a stupid. Honestly, can we stop worrying about draft picks? This team has a 3-year window to win the World Series. 3-year window. You don't sign Marte and Escobar and Scherzer and Cano, guys over 30 years old. Guys who in 5 years, most of them are going to be out of the league. You sign guys besides Marte, everybody else was a 2 or 3 year deal. What does that tell you? That tells you that you're in win now mode. You got DeGrom that's going to be in his mid-40s in 2 years. That's going to cost us a ton of money to re-sign him, which we obviously are. That's another problem. And then on top of that, this 2 to 3 year window when Beatty's probably going to be up either next year and possibly Alvarez is next year or the year after. We got those two guys, but you also have to look at the situation where this rotation is a very old rotation. We have a couple of years with this rotation. If it turns out they're healthy and they're great, you got to win now. That's why the Mets signings early on made a lot of sense. Solid guys, a decent lineup, really good lineup, but nothing that you're going to get excited about where you're going to be expecting, 4.5 runs a game. You're not. I mean, this team can probably, I would say 3.5 runs a game they can average, give or take. And I know they didn't try to get a lot of home run hitters. Citi Field's a big ballpark. They are looking for guys who gets on base and puts the bat on the ball. A lot of doubles in this lineup. That's fine. You can win ball games like that. But when you need that 3-run home run, who are you going to count on? Alonso. And that's what worries me. Yeah, I'm sorry. What I did, I turned to my my banner so I can just put it up there, and I kind of didn't click on the comments. That's my fault, guys. Sorry about that. Chegman, yes, exactly. The Phillies and the Braves have stacked lineups, and it worries me. Granted, the Braves are stacked all across the board. Starting pitching is not great. The starting pitch is not great. If Fried and Soroka, especially, are healthy, they got a 1-2 punch that is very dangerous. Because Soroka can win a Cy Young if he's healthy. Now, he hasn't been healthy because of the Achilles the last 2 years, but, he can be very effective when he's healthy. Matzik as well can be a little dangerous as well. The Braves got a good rotation, very good rotation. Their lineup stacked. Same thing with the Phillies. Their lineup is stacked. The Braves and the Phillies can easily score 4.5 runs a game. They can average 4.5 runs a game easily. Just by especially the Phillies in their bandbox at Citizens Bank. So you have to the Mets are praying it, and that's the way it seems to me. I don't know if you guys agree, but we'll see. The Mets are relying on pitching. They're relying on our pitching to shut down the Braves lineup and the Phillies lineup. That's what we're going to do. That's what they're focused on. We got one of the best rotations in the game on paper. Again, everybody's got to be healthy, but on paper, you'll have DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bassett. Depending on who you want to be fourth or fifth, if Carrasco, everybody says he's looking good. You got him as your fourth starter and Taijuan Walker your fifth starter. Now we're talking. And I do think Taijuan Walker is going to be good for us. Carrasco, if he's healthy, he's going to be a very solid pitcher. I mean, he's a number 3 when he's healthy in any team, maybe a number 2. And the same thing with Taijuan Walker. Taijuan Walker can easily be what Stroman was last year. Because Taijuan Walker has better stuff than Marcus Stroman. If he remains healthy and gets his stamina up from not pitching for 2 years, you saw him get tired last year in the second half. Having all those innings under his belt is going to help him this year. He had the stuff. He has better stuff than Stroman. Not saying he's going to be as good as Stroman, but I do think that the rotation is going to be fine. But the Mets are focused, and it looks like they're focusing in on shutting down the lineups of the other team. But you know what? Scherzer can have a bad night. DeGrom can have a bad night. Bassett can have a bad night. The whole rotation can have a bad night while they're facing the Braves and the Phillies. And how many runs are we going to score? That's the problem that we're going to have at the moment. We're not going to outslug the Braves or the Phillies. We have to outpitch them. And my biggest problem is, especially early on in the season, with the shortened spring training, what I worry about is that we're going to go into April and early parts of May with DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bassett probably not going more than 5-6 innings because they haven't stretched out their arm enough. So now you're going to worry about on the bullpen that you really don't trust. And how many games are we going to lose when we have leads taking out aces out of the game? That's what I worry about. Michael, I don't know what the Yankees are doing. I mean, if you have the answer, let me know because I have no idea, buddy. Yeah, you know what? But the problem is, I think Oakland's just gonna fleece you to get Montas. Manaea is probably your best option. I know he's not better than Montas, but that might be your best option, knowing that you probably don't have to give as much as you would Montas. And again, with Montas, they're probably going to ask for Volpe. They're probably going to ask for Peraza. They probably will. And I don't think Cashman's doing that. I mean, if he didn't do that for Olsen, why would he do that for Montas? Which, in my opinion, I would have rather traded those guys for Olsen than a pitcher. Because I think the Yankees can still get by in the rotation. But right now, do you really trust that lineup? And you have to trust that lineup based on Judge being healthy and Stanton being healthy. Hicks is gonna get hurt. I really do like IKF. I really do like him. He's gonna be solid. He's a better hitter than people give him credit for. Donaldson, he will get hurt during the season. Just a matter of how many bombs he's gonna hit before he gets hurt. Rizzo is an enigma to me. He's a question mark. If he's healthy, if he is 33 years old, he's up there in age, but he could probably still hit 25 bombs, no problem. And it's just a matter of the same thing with the Mets situation. Are the Yankees better than at least 2 of their teams in their division? And it's kind of a question mark at this point. They're not better than the Blue Jays. I don't think they're better than the Rays at this point. They might be on the same level. And who knows what the Red Sox still might do. If they get Trevor Story, I'm not saying Trevor Story is a deal breaker here to win a division, help the Red Sox win a division. But now the Red Sox lineup is even more stacked than they are already. So, and they don't have a lot of pitching. So, the Yankees are really dependent on a lot of their young guys in the rotation. Their bullpen without Britton is a lot less. And can you trust Chapman, another year older, who relies on his hard stuff, his 100 miles an hour? And then on top of that, we don't know how Chapman's going to pitch without the spider tech as well, because he was another advocate of that as well, using it. And, he might not get that same spin rate on his sliders as well. And that's a big problem for him as well. So when it comes to the Mets and the Yankees, I think they miss certain players that can easily help them. And then when the market came back to them, when it comes to the contracts that we thought these guys were going to get, we thought Correa was going to get 10 years or even 8 to 10 years around $300 to $350 million. Nick Castellanos, I've had a pretty good feeling that he was going to get $100 million. How many years is, we can debate that. But I just don't understand it. I really just don't understand it. And yeah, the Twins are after Montas as well. Stoney, what's up, buddy? Yes, I did fix my mic. Sorry about that, guys. Victor, there's really nobody left. I don't think the Mets are going to trade for. Look, the guy to get, if you don't worry about prospects or anything like that, is Jose Ramirez. But the Mets are not giving up 4 out of their top 15 prospects to get Jose Ramirez, even though he would be perfect for this lineup. Throw him at third base. You might have to throw maybe a Dom Smith in that deal, or maybe a JD Davis with like 3 prospects, top prospects. And, you throw McNeil to left field or put Kana on the bench. And then you got your third baseman, Jose Ramirez. He would help this lineup. He would help defensively. But you can't. I don't think the Mets are going to give up all that. So the other options are the free agents. The Mets, I don't think are going to go after Story. So there's one guy left, and that's Michael Conforto. And that's why I'm saying, a lot of people might not be happy with it. But Conforto in a bad year can still hit 20 home runs. And I think that's perfectly fine. And he's a guy that when he's hot, he's hot. And that's why I think Conforto is probably the best option at this point. Yeah, James, I want the Mets to get Hader too. I don't care what you have to give up. I wouldn't go crazy about prospects, but we need a lefty in this bullpen. And this can determine winning the division or not this season, especially what the Braves have done and the Phillies have done. We need a dominant lefty in this bullpen. We just need it. I don't want to see, Thomas Zapucki, and we're relying on a guy like that to pitch to Bryce Harper or Olsen or Schwarber. I just don't want to see that. I do not want to see that. I'm not going to feel comfortable with that. Well, you know what? I think the Yankees would. See, I don't understand the Yankees, though. If Story says, I will sign a 3-year deal with opt-out after every year for $25 million or $30 million, say. If the Yankees are going to do that with Story, wouldn't you want to put another $5 million to get Correa? Correa is a hell of a lot better than Trevor Story. So I don't understand. I like Story, but his home road splits are just terrible. Yeah, Daniel. Yeah, but you got to understand, too. Schwarber's the DH. Castellanos, you can throw in left field. All right, fine. But it's a small ballpark. He doesn't have to go crazy running around. Castellanos is not great. But again, they can bash their way to wins, and that's what they're going to do. It's just a matter of, is their pitching going to be good enough? Now, their defense can just kill them. We've seen it. The Phillies also have problems defensively as well. Their rotation is not great. Their defense is not great. But, they're going to win a lot of games, 7-3, 8-5, games like that. Well, this is what would happen, Robert, if you get Conforto. You move Nimmo to left, Conforto's at right, Kana's on the bench. Now your bench is even stronger than what it was with J.D. Davis, Dominic Smith, and Kana, and then Luis Guillorme, and probably another guy, maybe a Mark Vientos, who'll be the last option on the bench. That's what you would do. It strengthens your bench. Nimmo's still playing a corner outfield, which he's better than a center fielder. Conforto is one of the better right field defensively in the game. So you have a very solid defense with Marte in center. It helps your defense out good. Kana's not a great defender. He's better than Dominic Smith, but he's not great. Marte and Nimmo, Marte in center and Nimmo in the corner are very good defensively. So that's where Conforto would play. I don't know about Andrew Miller. Andrew Miller at this point is just he's a specialist. So now the Mets have Ottavino, which is a right-handed specialist, and you have Andrew Miller, who's a left-handed specialist. And with that 3-batter rule, if they split up, if they have Harper, Castellanos, Schwarber, okay, that would work. But when you look at other teams that are going to go, they'll have one lefty you need to get out, but then the next 2 batters are right-handed, and now you got to leave Andrew Miller in to face the righties. Well, there's the problem. And then Ottavino, the same thing. He can't pitch the lefties. That's the biggest problem in Ottavino. His slider that is wicked to right-handed batters are perfect for any left-handed batter because how's he throw his slider? Low and in. And what's the sweet spot for a lefty? I know. Low and in. And he can't pitch the lefties. Michael, me and you both. As much money as the Mets spent, besides Scherzer, which is a big signing, they got quality guys, quality, solid guys. Now, maybe making the big moves wasn't the, we were gonna see when the games get played, but the same thing with the Yankees. They weren't terrible moves. The Donaldson trade. Getting rid of Gary Sanchez is going to make you better defensively. You're already better defensively technically not third base. Gio Urshela is just as good as Donaldson, probably better. IKF is better than whatever you had in shortstop. And we already know Torres was terrible. Second base, Torres is good. And Rizzo is a beast at first base. And no matter what, anybody's better than Gary Sanchez behind the plate. So your infield defense alone got better. And I still think the Yankees can score runs. So as long as you guys pitch, which I still think is the biggest problem, pitching in the rotation and the bullpen, because I don't like your bullpen either. Loizaga is your best arm in that bullpen. And the way Aaron Boone uses his bullpen, Loizaga is going to, him and Chad Green are going to, he uses his bullpen like they'll have 40 games before the second half of the season. Like, it's crazy. So he's going to kill his bullpen, especially with all the young kids that are probably going to have innings limits that they're going to have. Luis Gil, Schmidt, King, all those guys are going to actually have innings limits. And what do you do after that? You're going to take these guys out of the fifth inning, even when they're pitching well, because of their innings limits. And guess what? Your bullpen's going to get destroyed. Yeah, that's a possibility, Robert. Their defense is not good. But again, when you're scoring 8 runs and 9 runs, are they really going to give up that many runs as well? If they are, well, they're gonna beat a team that's, a 500 team at best. But they got better. Their lineup is better than the Mets at the moment. Again, that's not everything, but on paper, they got a better lineup. We got the better rotation. It's just a matter of who wins that day, basically. Jason, Jorge Soler is an option. Again, I haven't heard the Mets or the Yankees rumored. I mean, I want to see the Yankees rumored at that, but the Mets rumored with Soler at all. The Mets need a left-handed bat. That's why I'm going back to Conforto. Another right-handed bat in this lineup is really not exactly what this lineup needs. I mean, we got Nimmo and we got Lindor. Yeah. I believe Escobar is a switch hitter, if I'm not mistaken. So, I would like another left-handed hitter so you can go righty, lefty, righty, lefty. I feel a lot more comfortable with that. We talked about the Yankees for years, that they were completely right-handed in a ballpark where they got the short porch and right, and they never had an actual lefty until Rizzo came along and Gallo. No, Michael, I'm happy. But when you see your teams in your division get even better, and there is opportunities. Now, I could see the Mets couldn't do nothing about the trade that the Braves made with Olsen. You couldn't. They can't stop it. But what the Mets could have done is try their best to at least increase the price and let the Phillies question if they're going to go after that player at that amount when it comes to Castellanos or Schwarber. The Mets were never really involved. So they basically let the Phillies tell them, put the offer out there, and that's it. They didn't have to worry about any of the NL East teams. The Braves are already stacked, so they weren't worried about Schwarber and Castellanos. The Mets aren't stacked. They're good, but they're not stacked, and that's what I worry about. The pitching staff the rotation is by far one of the best, if not the best, all around in the rotation in baseball. We could talk about the Brewers. The Jays are pretty good. You want to talk about other teams, maybe the Dodgers. I don't think the Dodgers have a great starting rotation. They're good. But, if everybody's healthy throughout, if all the pitchers are healthy on every team, the Mets are at least the top 3 in the league. But will it be good enough to stop the powerful offenses of the Dodgers at the Phillies, the Braves? We don't know. Is it going to be enough? All right, Sean, have a good day, buddy. Austin Meadows, yeah, I mean, that's fine. He's good, but, let's not get fleeced by the Rays, though. Yes, they do need an offense and a bullpen arm. I agree with that, and the Yankees did not do nothing. No, I don't think they're going to get Frankie Montas. That's the biggest problem. I mean, if they don't get Shohei Manai either, the Yankees are in trouble in the rotation. Yeah, Christian, Soler's a good call. I tend to I forgot about that guy. Him, the World Series MVP. The problem is that we haven't heard nothing regarding the Mets being rumored to even talking to him. We've heard a little bit about Conforto. They might be backtracking on him. That's it. I mean, what does that really do? You know what I'm saying? So I just don't understand why the Mets just continue, if you come out with this lineup tomorrow and you're going with this team, okay, I would be okay with the lineup. I'm not going to go crazy about it. I'll still be excited for the season. I'll be ready to go. This team can surprise me offensively. Maybe a lot more home runs will be happening in this lineup. We'll see. Escobar has the talent and has the stats in his prior years where he can hit 30 home runs, but I don't see that as a possibility. Same thing that goes for Lindor. I don't see him hitting 30 home runs. Maybe max 25, 26 at most. Alonso, I can see hitting 35, maybe more. But that's about it. So I worry about this team. But, give me a solid left-handed arm in a bullpen, and maybe I'll be a lot more happier with the offseason as a whole. Tom says, go Phillies. Well, your Phillies got better, that's for sure. Your 3-4-5 is going to be scary as hell. Silver Fox, I tend to agree. I think the Mets put themselves in a situation where they have to now. And that's the biggest problem. Now, as much as the Mets offered him $100 million before the season. So they clearly saw value in him. Yes, they didn't realize he was going to have this season as last year, but they saw value in him, not only with his defense, but they could see him as a 260 hitter, 265. If he puts it all together, he can hit 28 home runs, 80 RBIs. That's something that you need in this lineup. You need more of that in the lineup. And I don't know if the Mets have that. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Sorry, guys. I'm just checking something. Once again, guys, if you're just tuning in, don't forget to hit on that like button, guys. We got 120 viewing right now, so thank you guys for tuning into the stream. We're just, we're talking about the Correa signing, the Castellanos signing, how that affects the Mets and how it affected the Yankees, because basically the Twins said, hey, take Donaldson's $50 million off our payroll and give us Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela, and, with that money, we're going to flip it and give it to Correa. So that kind of screwed the Yankees a little bit when they could have waited a little longer or even talked to Correa a little bit more. Maybe they could have got the same deal for Correa, which would have helped the Yankees tremendously. With the Mets, they basically let Kyle Schwarber and Castellanos go to the Phillies with no fight. And that's my biggest concern. And we don't have a lefty. If we had a solid lefty, if we had Andrew Chafin or traded for Taylor Rogers or somehow traded for Josh Hader, I would feel a little bit more comfortable. Like, all right, they got those bats because we got that arm. Again, who knows? I would take Will Smith. Honestly, I would. But I don't think the Braves ain't going to help the Mets and the Mets ain't going to help the Braves. Honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. Not in division like that. Yeah, Reggie, I wouldn't say he lost his way. I think it's all about Hal just putting the ties on the money. Hey, I don't want to go over the luxury tax or the second tier because they are over the one tier, the second tier. He don't want to go over it. When Cashman sees that even though the luxury tax went up, what, $14, $15 million, After he made that Donaldson move, he's basically hamstrung to what he can do financially. So it just doesn't make sense. And Cashman's hands was tied. That's why he's uh trying to finesse the trade where he don't have to, put more money on the payroll, but it's almost impossible because then he would have to give up his top prospect, which he's not doing. So the Yankees are in a bind at the moment. If they're not going to spend money, it's very unlikely that they're going to make another trade for a pitcher, and that's probably why they didn't go after Correa. Maybe Story, but I still don't see that. Maddie, I 100% agree. I think that's the biggest problem. I just don't understand. You would give $50 million uh, after the trade to give to Donaldson, but yet you weren't willing or even talk to Correa. Because if Correa would have said, "Hey, listen, I would take a 3-year deal with opt outs, a short term deal with that amount of money," would the Yankees say no to that? You have to be like drunk to not think of that. Like, why wouldn't you not want that? He's an impact bat. He's a great defensive gold glover, platinum glove. He's a clutch player in the playoffs. And, like, I just don't get it. And somebody brought this up today. One of my friends at work, he said, watch, the Yankees can always beat the Twins. They never had a problem. The Twins can never beat them in the playoffs. No matter how good the Twins are, the Yankees always find a way to beat them. This will be the 1 year the Yankees face the Twins in the playoffs, and the Twins kick the Yankees' ass, and Correa has a game of his life. So, I mean, I know that's like that's just a very pissed off Yankee fan about that situation, but you could see it. Epler dropped the ball. Yeah, I guess you can say that. I mean, I'm still mad. Like I said, if the Mets get a solid lefty in his bullpen, I will be much more happy with the overall offseason from the Mets, acquisition wise and signings. Other than that, if they don't do that and they're relying on the lefties they have on their minor league contracts and guys that we seen last year, David Peterson and Zapucki, that worries me. That really does worry me. Mike, you were right. Reggie, they're not gonna Yankee fans ain't gonna boycott. You're still gonna be I still think you still have a chance at a wild card spot and be in a playoff. And again, when you make the playoffs, anything can happen. Mike says, "Thank God the Yankees didn't sign Correa." Roberto, how you doing? Conforto is not the right player for the Mets. The Mets must go after Hader no matter what, and they need another bat. Well, the problem is, Roberto, there is no other bats out there. The bat that makes sense the most for the Mets is Jose Ramirez, and they're not giving up all those prospects. Hader is a no-brainer. If the Mets are looking at him, they have to get him. The only reason why Conforto is the right player now because there's nobody left. And that's why, I'm not saying Conforto's an impact bat, but he's a bat we know, and he's not going to have a year like he did last year. If he has something like a 2016, I would say 2016, but like a 2019 Conforto, a little less than what he did because he had a career year in 2019, a little less than that. I think that's what you can expect from him. But I don't expect something 1 year in a bad year and over the last 6. And I think Conforto's still, you're comfortable with him. You know what he is. You don't have to rely on trading for somebody and pray that this guy can play in New York. At least you know Conforto can do that. And yes, I 100% agree. The Mets need to get Hader. Paul, that's funny. The Phillies are a softball team. You're right. I mean, they're gonna bash. That's the thing. It's just they're gonna outscore a lot of people. They're gonna win a lot of their games. This NL East. The Marlins have a stacked rotation as well. So they're another team that can like not give up a lot of runs as well. So the Marlins are going to be they're not going to be a playoff team, but they're going to be tough like they always are in the NL East because of their pitching. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess the Twins can make the wild card, but you know, they don't have a lot of pitching either. They did get Sonny Gray. They don't have a lot of pitching either. You know what? Correa is gonna opt out after that 1 year. If Trevor Story gets an opt out, he's gonna opt out too. So Trevor Story and Correa is gonna be back on the market next year. Tom, I agree. I don't think it's that strong. I think it's a good lineup. We got a lot more speed than we had last year. We have a lot more guys to put bat on balls. There's a lot of doubles in this lineup. If you look at the the stats with a lot of the players the Mets got, they're doubles machines. And granted, that can score a lot of runs, absolutely. But you know what? I like to see a little bit more power in a lineup. And that's the problem I'm having with the lineup right now. Not saying it's not a good lineup, it's a good lineup. But when the Braves come next to you and you see their lineup, and you got Acuna, you got Albies, you got Swanson, you got Riley, I mean, you got Olsen. I mean, geez, 5 out of the 9 guys are guys that can take you deep no matter what. And a lot of them are really the best, really good players in the league. And Acuna is one of the best, along with Olsen. Levin, listen. I wouldn't say the Mets have no shot because it's not all about just the lineup. The Phillies have no pitching. So yeah, they can win a lot of games 9-8, but they can also lose the games 9-8. The Braves are counting on Soroka and Fried. Fried should be fine, but if Soroka is not healthy, they're in trouble in their rotation. They don't have a great rotation. Their bullpen's pretty good. Again, I'm not sitting here telling you that the Braves are not better than the Mets. I already said over and over again in my last couple of streams, the Braves are better than the Mets. And they were probably still better than the Mets before Olsen. And they are. The Mets have to catch the Braves. But again, we've seen it what happened last year when the best team didn't really win that division last year. The Braves weren't the best team the first half of the year. They got hot in the second half, and then that was it. And they were that good. Robert, it's not a half a point. If you follow baseball and you average out the runs throughout the year, that's how they do it. You would see it all the time when they talk about it. The Mets are averaging 2.5 runs a game. If they played 19 games and you divide that by the runs, you'll have that number by the amount of games they played. So yeah, you can get a half a point, half a run. That's how it works. Mike, I tend to agree. Honestly, that's the biggest problem. And that's what like I said, great. We got a great pitching staff. So the first month of the season when DeGrom, Bassett, and maybe Scherzer will go 6 or 7 because he's a nutcase. But even still, Showalter is going to be careful with these guys. And don't expect Jacob DeGrom, Bassett, or Scherzer, at least for the first month, pitch deep into games because it's not happening, especially with the shortened spring training. So now you got to rely on your bullpen with May and Castro and Diaz and Sean Reed Foley and Lugo. I mean, it sounds decent, but we need Lugo to have a bounce back year. He wasn't good last year. May gave up a ton of home runs last year. Diaz is always a crapshoot closing the games. Castro, if he doesn't have his stuff, if he's wild, he's in trouble. So the Mets have a lot of wild cards in this rotation. And that's the biggest thing I worry about. That's why I think they're going to go with Thomas Sapucki and David Peterson in the bullpen to put as their lefties. And that worries me as well. Well, PJC, yes, like I said, we all thought we were moving on for Conforto. The problem is the Mets didn't do anything else with anybody else that was out there. There was enough outfielders out there. There was enough players that we could have got that would have been, if not better, or at least the same as Conforto, better than Conforto, and they didn't do it. I'm sorry. Nick Castellanos offensively is better than Michael Conforto. Defensively, Michael Conforto is better. But the Mets left themselves no choice. And maybe they were waiting in the wings this whole time knowing that they were going to give Michael Conforto before the year $100 million last year, and now when they ain't really a market for Conforto, that they can come back to him and basically offer him a 1-year deal or maybe a 2-year deal with an opt out for basically the same amount as the qualifying offer, maybe a little bit more. But now we heard that the White Sox are in on him as well, so that might be an issue. Yeah, I know. Philly's going to be interested in the first week of the season, and I'm going to be heading out there. Oh, goody. Oh, goody. And yes, Reggie, I agree. He's going to the Astros. Story's going to the Astros. I think Story's going to the Astros. And I actually predicted that in my top 20 free agents about a month and a half ago. I thought that Correa was no way going to be back with the Astros. I didn't say the Twins, that's for sure. But I said Trevor Story because the Astros needed a shortstop. I said that a month and a half ago that I thought Story was going to go back to the Astros. You don't believe me? Check that out. Not trying to toot my own horn, but I did say that. And I also said that Nick Castellanos was going to get close to $100 million. I didn't say 100, but I knew he was going to get a 4 or 5 year deal. I just felt that. And, what are you going to do? And even in my Correa video, I said the Mets should give him 1 year, $40 million. Well, he basically got almost that each year with opt out. So I don't know, guys. The Mets and the Yankees are just twiggling their thumbs, and I don't know. Reggie, you know what? That's exactly what Cashman is. Cashman is banking on Volpe being a stud. The same way Cashman did everything he can for Frazier, that was the guy, right? Trade Andrew Miller, get Clint Frazier, the quickest bat speed they ever saw, and he's a bust. And a lot of these guys, the Yankees held on to Gary Sanchez for way too long. That hurt Cashman because Cashman loved Gary Sanchez. It is what it is. Greg Bird, another one that, he didn't want to trade. At the time, it was Verlander and Cole who were the ones getting traded to the Astros, and the Yankees were involved, but they didn't want to give up those top prospects that are actually bust now. So, I mean, you can't predict that, but Cashman has a problem giving up his top prospects. And if they don't pan out, he looks stupid. Oh, Reggie Volpe's pretty good. I mean, he's still very young, so you just never know. I think Jason Dominguez is going to be a stud. He's a beast. I seen him. Was it last year? Yes, last year when I went down to spring training, I took a drive from Port St. Lucie to Tampa just to see the Yankees facility. I think I've been there like 5 years, 6-7 years ago. I think at the Yankees spring training facility, and I always like to check it out because different experience. And I saw Jason Dominguez, and he's a monster, and he was taking batting practice. I mean, the kid's 20 years old, and he looks like he's 30. Like he can be that good. Volpe, you never know with these prospects. You just don't know. Yeah, Story is a natural fit. Yeah, I could say that, but worry about Story's road splits because they home and road splits. It's terrible. Well, I heard that he didn't want to stay. He didn't want to go to the Northeast. But again, if the Yankees would have offered what the Dodgers offered, he probably would have went there. But the Yankees weren't doing that. Yeah, I mean, you can say that about any lineup, honestly. If these guys bounce back, you can look at the Yankees lineup and saying if Torres bounces back and LeMayu bounces back from the bad years they had last year, then yeah, the Yankees lineup is going to be better. The same thing with the Mets. We have to rely on Lindor being better, McNeil being better. I mean, McCann being better. I mean, there's no guarantee. And that's the problem. If they pan out, then great. They're going to have a better lineup. But, you have to go with what you've seen last year. And I always expect the worst and be pleasantly surprised when I'm wrong. That's the way I see it. But that's a mindset of a Met fan. I don't know how you guys are with your team, but yeah. Oh yeah, Silver Fox. Yeah, absolutely. Look, if Correa went to, if you look at his stats in Minnesota, they're like amazing. And then that might be a reason, one of the reasons why he chose there, knowing that he hits very well in that stadium. And if he has a big year, he opts out, and he'll probably get his 8 to 10 year contract from somebody. So good for him, and he's gonna opt out. There's no doubt about that. There's no big shortstops on the market next year unless Story gets an opt out. Correa is all by himself at the moment. When he opts out, there's going to be teams trying to get him. Brett, I don't think the Yankees are the best team in the East. I'm sorry. No way. No way. I mean, you weren't better than the Red Sox. You weren't better than the Rays. Last year, you were better than the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays done a lot to get themselves better. Your rotation is very questionable. Severino, we don't know if he's going to be healthy. Can he pitch well? Garrett Cole with Spider Tech, I think he's still going to be a very good pitcher, but is he going to be that dominant ace that you paid all that money to? And you got a lot of young kids that's going to be in this rotation. Do you trust them? I mean, you can trust them, but that don't mean they're going to be good. Jordan Montgomery, fine. Nestor Cortez, solid, but they're not great. And your bullpen's a problem. I'm telling you right now, your bullpen is a problem. Yeah, well, Michael, I always expect the teams to lie to us. That's just me. Ryan, I think it's a big possibility at this point. Seeing the outfielders pull off the board, I think they're definitely going to at least try to get Conforto back because now there's competition to get him. So, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with Cano. Like, if the Mets didn't have Cano and his salary, I don't know if they were going to go after Schwarber or Castellanos. It would be a nice fit, but I don't think they were. I just don't think so. Michael, I agree with you. 6 year deal is not that big. It'd be 38 years old. Even if you get 4 excellent years from Freeman, it's worth the 6 year contract. That's what people don't understand when they look at 10 year contracts. They expect them, in year 10, he's going to be terrible. He's going to be great. Yes, if he's going to be terrible, that's a bad contract. The CC contract was a long contract, but he gave you 4.5 to 5 solid years, great years, and got you a championship as well. But the last two were terrible. But you expect that when you sign those type of deals. Like the Lindor deal. I see he can have 6 really good to all-star seasons with the Mets. The last 4, probably a disaster. But you expect that when you make those long-term contracts. Yeah, Mike, I know you've been saying you wanted Freeman over Correa. Absolutely. But like you said, when Freeman was gone and you already got Olsen, Correa made the most sense for you guys, and it still does. It still did. They just didn't do it. Tom, I agree. His production was outstanding. I knew he was going to get. I felt very confident that he was going to get $100 million. He had a career year last year in his contract year. The last couple of years, he's been very good, really good actually, and he got a nice deal. He got 25 per. That's not bad at all. Andrew, I don't know if they're going to go after Soler. I haven't heard anything at all about that. Honestly, I haven't been checking Twitter, which I usually do. I should be checking that. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So let's, we're looking for a couple of guys here and there. Maybe a trade that might pop up during this time while we're here at the moment. But I don't see much going on. Let's see. Yeah, that's not much, guys. Again, there's not a lot going on right now. There's not a lot of guys left. Unless you see a trade here and there. I'm praying my Mets make a trade for Hader or Taylor Rogers. It'll make me feel a lot better about this bullpen, but we'll see. Yeah, Mike, I'm not giving up. No, if they're asking for Alvarez or Beatty, I'll hang up on them. But I think you can get it. I think you can put Mauricio in that deal. You know, honestly, I would put Diaz in that deal. Honestly, I would give me Mauricio and Diaz and another top 25 prospect. Lower in the prospect pool, and give them that. Or if they want a Dominic Smith or JD Davis, throw that in there too. Hitt is one of the best closers in the game. Yes, he has a lot of innings on his arm, but he's still one of the best closers in the game. I like lefty closers. I love it. 100% love it. And then I don't care if you put Zapucki or David Peterson as your other lefty in the bullpen. I'll be fine with that. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to make these moves to make yourself or give yourself a chance against those lefty bats that are going to be big time lefty bats in big situations, it's going to happen. This is not a guess. I'm not looking at my crystal ball. This is a fact. There's going to be a situation where Matt Olson is up in the top of the eighth or the bottom of the eighth with runners on. Mets are leading 2-1, and we have no lefty that we can count on. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. Robert, there's not really a good center fielder out there. Not at the moment, no. Yeah, Meadows is available. I still don't see the Mets doing that either. Ray, that was part of the last CBA, the collective bargaining agreement. That was in the CBA. So, that was part of the deal. Both sides agreed to it. That's how they did it. I don't know why they basically did it. I guess just to protect the teams, because what it was, why they put the draft pick compensation there was for the teams that might be losing their player and gave a qualifying offer for. It gives the small market teams a better chance of keeping their player by taking the qualifying offer that is a pretty sizable offer, 1 year deal. If they don't see if they're not going to get close to what they're going to get in their offers from other teams. So that's why they did it, but it kind of backfired, because what it did is stopped a lot of teams from, even the teams that like to spend a lot of money. They don't want to lose that draft pick. And that's why it sucks. But the Phillies didn't care. The Phillies have a higher pick than the Mets, but they didn't care. Yeah, but you know what, Michael? I understand the beef with the 2017 scandal and the cheating, but let's be honest, Mike. If the Yankees last night would have signed Carlos Correa, you know how fast the Yankee fans would be buying his jersey? They would be so happy. Oh, this is a great move. They wouldn't care. Just like you didn't care about Giambi, the same way you didn't care about Clemens, the same way you didn't care about Wade Boggs, Johnny Damon, you are not going to care. When they put on the pinstripes or they put on the jersey of your team, you do not care. Max Scherzer is a Met. You know how I couldn't stand Max Scherzer all those years with the Nationals? As soon as they put on the jersey, you don't have to forget. But when he hits that big home run in the bottom of the ninth to put the Yankees and give them a win, you'll be the first one cheering. That's how it is. It's with all sports fans. People who say that, oh, I don't want him anyway, he's a cheater. Okay, that's fine. You would. Because when he hits that big home run for you, or gets that lead in the game, or makes a great dive and stop to save a run to win you a game, you're going to love him and you're going to cheer for him. Webbs, what's up, buddy? Michael, I agree. They should have traded with Oakland. It's well, Victor, the Mets seem like they're doing that, right? I know Diaz scares a lot of us, but if you look at his stats last year, he had a very good year for a closer. He had a very good year. Yes, he had a couple of blow-ups, but all closers do. Unless you're Josh Hader or, Iglesias from the Angels. Like, there's not a lot of great closers out there. All the closers in the game now basically blow games. Just how many saves are they going to blow? That's the bigger deal. Evan, I wouldn't say Connor's better than Conforto. I mean, that's a little rough. I mean, Connor's a good player, but Conforto's better. Just because Conforto had one bad year, like really bad year, look at his other 5 years. His stats are not even close to Connor. Connor's dangerous though. Jose, I know. I know. Look, we're not very happy with Diaz. But again, look around the league. Name me a closer besides Hader and Iglesias that the Mets could get that you would be happy with at the end of the game. Because every one of those closers blow games. There's no closer. There's not Mariano out there. There's just not. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to have to live with Diaz, unfortunately. All right. So once again, guys, just to keep you updated, I'm gonna cut this stream off at 5:00. They get ready for my fantasy baseball draft. Finally, who knew? About a couple of weeks ago, we didn't think we were gonna have a season, right? With the lockout. So yeah, there ain't much going on. We're just hoping that we get some news, maybe a trade. But it is what it is. MLB free agent frenzy is basically almost done. So expect only streams or a breaking news stream about the Mets or the Yankees signing somebody, mostly the Mets. Other than that, or trading. Other than that, it's going to be Mets Hot Stove on Tuesdays, as it used to be. And I know if you're not a Met fan, you don't have to come on the stream. But I'm just letting you know that's probably what's going to happen since free agent frenzy is basically over for the most part. So expect on Tuesday to be Mets Hot Stove live and just videos that will be popping up, bullpen options. I am doing something like this. Let me share my screen really quick so I can show you something that I'm putting together for a video, which I wanted to do last year, but my channel wasn't really known much, so I want to do it this year. But let me show you. Just give 1 second, guys. Oh, all right. Well, all right. So give me a second, guys. So I can't do it right now. The live streams that's not making me do it. Basically, it's I'm doing a video on pretenders and contenders. Basically, I'm giving you teams that are pretenders and are contenders for the playoffs and the World Series. So that's what I'll be doing. Probably close to the end of the spring training, and then as normally I will be doing the NL East projections and all of Major League Baseball projections. Also with the NL East, I'll be doing lineup projections, ranking them 1 through 5, and rotations, ranking them from 1 to 5, and giving you my explanations and the numbers and projected ERAs as well, and going over all that by how I rank them, and tell you guys how I rank them and what stats I look at by ranking the lineups and the rotations and all that crazy stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Yeah, Roberto, I don't know if they're gonna make any more. It doesn't feel like that. What's up with Conforto? Well, waiting for him to sign. The Mets are probably still involved in Conforto. I think they are. I mean, they don't have a choice. They need an extra bat. They're just sitting around the whole time, just doing basically nothing. So let's hope they got to do something. Merlinful, I tend to agree for the most part because they're pitching in their bullpen. But I mean, what were they? I don't know. What was their record last year? Let me see. Let's see. Let me check. What is their bullpen? I'm sorry, their standings last year. So the Phillies won 82 games last year. That was with a bad bullpen, an offense that wasn't that good, and a rotation that Nola was terrible and Wheeler was one of their best pitchers. So they won 82 games. Oh, by the way, 5 more games than the Mets last year. So they won 82 games. Their pickups with Schwarber, Castellanos, is only a 3-game leap, then if you're looking at that, why are the Mets going to be a 15-game leap? You know what I'm saying? Like the Mets are projected. I think the Mets projections is like 91, 92 wins. So they're jumping almost 15 games. And the Mets, besides their pitching staff rotation, their lineup is okay and good, but is it 15 games? That's tough. Really tough. All right. So a little thing about for all teams, that Joel Shillman tweeted this. I was reminded that the end of the significant portion of free agency is coming just as teams and players have to settle or exchange arbitration salary figures Tuesday. Agents and front offices remain busy. So that can be another reason why a lot of teams are not very active because they're going through a lot of arbitration eligible players, and there could be an arbiter basically involved in this situation if they can't agree on a deal. So that's another thing that we have to look at. Again, it shouldn't affect the Mets that much, even though they do have a couple of arbitration eligible players. But again, if Cohen said he's going to go over 290, I don't know if they're waiting until this arbitration stuff is done by Tuesday. But by then, most of the guys, Conforto could be gone. And then the Mets are really in trouble with their lineup. The Mets did not sign Andrew Miller yet. If they do, I don't see that's going to make us any better. He's a guy who can get lefties out. Other than that, he's basically a waste of a spot. No, Motherfield, they haven't leaked anything out, but we also haven't seen any movement since the Bassett trade. Minor league deals here and there and out of Vino, but nothing crazy. Robert, what I heard right before I came on the stream or saw was the White Sox are interested in Michael Conforto. So that sucks. Well, Schwarber's not overrated. Schwarber can hit 40 bombs and hit 250. And the same thing with Nick Castellanos. Nick Castellanos can easily hit 25 to 30 home runs in that Citizens Bank. Like with Schwarber, Hopper, and Castellanos, you can easily see probably 90 home runs from those guys. Like easily. Hopper and Schwarber are going to hit 30 home runs easily. Castellanos could hit 25. Like they can easily hit 90 home runs just between the three of them. That's scary. And again, their defense is not that good. Harper's a really good defensive outfielder. Their infield is not that great. They haven't improved their defense much, but they did improve their lineup a lot. And they lost a lot of games last year because they couldn't score runs. Their pitcher wasn't great, but there was a lot of games where they could not score runs. The same problem the Mets had. But yet, they still won 77 games. I'm sorry, 82 games. So, with their terrible bullpen, their rotation wasn't that good. Nola had a terrible year. Wheeler was the only really good starter in that rotation. Their lineup wasn't scoring runs. Besides Harper just killing everything he saw, they still won 82 games. And they improved the lineup. Yes, you can say Familia and Hand are not good bullpen guys, but they're trying to get their bullpen a little bit better. I can't see why we're thinking the Mets can go 15 games better than last year. But some people, Marlinville said that, they're 82 win or 85 win team at best when they got, I don't think Schwarber and Castellanos are just two or three more wins more. They're at least probably 5 or 6. Not saying the Phillies are going to be better than the Mets. I still think they're a third place team, but, that offense can literally destroy a game without any issue. Dakota, we had a solid offseason, but the Braves and the Phillies, for the most part, did better with their lineup as a whole. The Braves had a great offseason with their bullpen and their starting pitching. They just did a lot. So they're good. Yeah, Mike, I agree. The rotation's going to be look. If they're healthy, they're going to be very, very good. But there's going to be a lot of times that they're going to leave in the seventh inning. We got to count on the bullpen. Are you confident that the bullpen can hold leads? I don't know. No, Robert. If the Mets sign Conforto, he's going to right field with Nimmo to left and Kana on the bench. I think that's exactly what the Mets would do. Victor, I mean, if you look at the guys who are going to be actually hitting behind Pete Alonso, who's it going to be? Escobar? McNeil? Depending on who's the DH that day, if it's Smith or Davis. I mean, these are not guys that I really, you know, confident that can be protection behind Alonso. Maybe Escobar I can probably trust a little bit more, a veteran guy who can hit for power. But other than that, I don't trust anybody behind Alonso. That's the problem. Dakota Andrew Chafin is not ours. He's on the Tigers now. Mike Andrew Miller is a free agent. A lot of people are going hard on Andrew Miller. Andrew Miller is 37 years old. You know, he's a lefty specialist. That's all he is at this point. And yes, I've been talking about we need to get lefties out and Olsen, Harper, and Schwarber. Yes, but with that three batter rule, they split up the lefties. Now you're in trouble. You want to get Schwarber out, great. You bring Andrew Miller in. Well, if you bring him in the beginning of the game, in the inning, well, he's got to pitch to the next two batters, and there's no guarantee you're going to face Harper in that middle, in that three batter rule, and Nick Castellanos is probably going to be in between. So that worries me. And, Miller doesn't throw hard anymore. He's more of a finesse pitcher at this point. 5 years ago, maybe I would want Andrew Miller, but I rather try to get Josh Hader or Taylor Rogers. Robert, well, there's not a lot of good starting pitching out there to sign. There's back into the rotation guys. Again, that's what they need. But I mean, if you're going to sign a guy that has a 5 ERA, I mean, they're not really helping their rotation. Yeah, Leaf, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think Conforto is going to be still a really good player. I don't think he's going to have another year like last year. So, I mean, if I think the Mets can get him on a 2-year deal with an opt out for next year, to give him the chance to have a show me deal and then can opt out and make his money that he thought he was going to make this year. I don't think the White Sox are trading Kimbrel at this point anymore. Earlier in the offseason, yeah, there was a possibility. But with them getting Joe Kelly and they have Hendricks and Kimbrel, that's a great bullpen right there. So I don't think the White Sox are going to mess with that. Even though they could use McNeil at second. They need a second baseman. But I don't think the White Sox want to do that at this point. They're going to score runs. They're going to need late inning bullpen help to hold the leads. And they made smart moves with their bullpen. Yeah, Edward, I think the Astros are going to go after Story. 100%. Yeah, Volpe is 20 years old. So, there's a possibility if he jumps up quickly in the farm system, he could be here next year, but most likely 2 years. But I think the Yankees are going to rush him to get him up here because, that's Cashman's, baby right there. Well, I'm glad the Phillies didn't sign Correa because that would have been really annoying. Oh, Robert, it's a possibility, but you got to remember, look at the West. There's three teams that can easily make the playoffs. If they all had years like last year, all three of them would. Or the Padres would have made the playoffs too with this new 12-team playoff. So we'll see. Buzz, Rich, what's up? All right. Let's see. Traded Dom Smith for Gray, Kimbrel, and Watson. Signed Conforto. Again, I don't know if the White Sox are gonna trade for Kimbrel anymore. Their bullpen needs to be stacked, especially with their rotation being okay. They need to hold leads late in games. Ralph, I've been clamoring for this for months, probably longer. As soon as the Mets signed Lindor, if the Mets were serious about keeping Ronnie Mauricio and seeing him as the future on the Mets, they should have moved him to second base where there's opening, where they can easily move McNeil and put Mauricio in second in a year or two. What did they do? They kept him at shortstop. He can't play third because of Mark Vientos and Brett Beatty. Now they're trying him out in the outfield. So now you're going to break the kid's confidence, who is a really good shortstop. You would think moving a really good shortstop to second base, the adjustment shouldn't be that hard, but give him the reps. No, they're going to throw him in the outfield. Mauricio, the reason why they're keeping him at shortstop is to keep his value high. Why? Because they are going to trade him. I don't know if it's going to be the rest of this offseason, but if they need a bat or they need an arm in the trade deadline this year, Mauricio is going to be a part of the deal if the name's big enough. So I think Mauricio is ready to going to be out of here. And the only reason why they haven't moved him from shortstop because his value is the highest at shortstop. They're scared if they move him to second base and he fails and he's not a good second baseman and it affects his hitting, now his value is down. Now teams might not want to, give you that big name or that big bat that you're looking for at the trade deadline. And now you're stuck with Mauricio. Granted, Mauricio can turn out to be a good outfielder, but you signed Marte for 4 years. You got Nimmo, who maybe they'll sign, maybe they're not. And you got Connor for a couple of years. So I don't know what the Mets are doing with Mauricio, except using him as a trade chip if needed. Yeah, Dave Dombrowski with the Tigers. Yeah, so they had a good relationship. Yes. Oh, Buzz, I'm optimistic, but I don't want to lie to you guys and say, "Oh, the Mets are better than everybody in their division." I mean, I'd be lying to you guys. You guys know that I keep it 100% real with you guys. If my team sucks, I will tell you. If my team is not as good as another team in the East, I will tell you. I'm not ashamed of saying that. I've got called a complete negative Met fan last year when I said this team wasn't good when they were in first place. And people were like, "Oh, you're so negative." I'm negative because a lot of Met fans don't like to hear the truth from somebody else. They might believe it, but they don't want to hear it. And that's why I think a lot of people enjoy my streams, because I'm not going to back away about telling you how much my team sucks if they really do. The Mets don't suck. But are they better than the Braves? Probably not. Again, they got to play the games to find out. The Phillies did catch up to the Mets a little bit. Not rotation, but the Mets bullpen ain't as great. The Phillies bullpen is not as great. And if you compare the lineups, the Phillies lineup is probably better, especially in the top 5. So I try to be the person that is real with you guys, even if I don't like, even if I mean what I say, even if I don't like what I want to say or what I say. It's just, that's how I feel. We'll see. I think the Mets are going to go with this bullpen, and if they need help during the year, they'll make a trade. I guess that's the way I see it. Angel, a member of Talkin Mets here. Rob, what's up, Angel? Michael, the Yankees are not cheap. The payroll is $251 million. Angel, I agree with you on that. The bigger problem is that the Yankees got burned already for waiting for prospects to pan out. Torres and Greg Bird, Clint Frazier, and Torres I think is still going to be good, but with Greg Bird and Clint Frazier, they're off the team, and those are the two guys that teams wanted when they wanted to trade a Verlander or Cole a couple of years ago when the Astros got him. And what's his name? Cashman did not want to give those guys up. So, you're counting on the Yankees. Granted, Cashman and the organization loves Volpe. He has all the 5 tools that everybody looks in a player. But there's no guarantee. What happens if Volpe comes up, is not the guy everybody expected? You have Correa, whatever team he's going to be on after the Twins, because he's going to be gone from the Twins, and gets his 8-year deal, smashes the ball all around, helps the team in the playoffs, possibly a World Series, and you're going to look at like, damn, we could have had that guy for $25-30 million a year. And now the Volpe that you didn't want to trade to get Olsen, now Olsen's on the Braves mashing. So it's tough. The Mets are close to $44 million over the cap. So $44 million over the cap. Cohen said they would go over 290, so there can be $60 million over the cap easily. Again, at this point, it's the luxury. It's the penalties you're going to pay anyway. So we'll just have to wait and see if the Mets do it. Yeah, like Volpe has the potential. He has the stuff. He was hitting bombs all over the place. I think he hit a home run the other day in the inter-squad game. It's, you just never know. That's why, like the can't miss guys, Alvarez, who's in the top 10 of all of baseball, a catcher, usually these guys pan out, but it's the guys who are in the top 40 or 50 that you tend to worry about. You don't know. They can go either way. If they turn out to be good, great, but there is no guarantee. Personally, I would always trade the prospect for somebody that I know what they are. I seen them in the league. Like Matt Olson was a no-brainer. Why do you think the Braves gave up 4 of their top 15 prospects? Because they're not worrying about what those prospects could be. They know what Olson is. The same thing when it came to anybody else who traded for anybody. You trade prospects. The Cubs traded their number 1 prospect in Torres for Matt Chapman, a reliever. Why? Because one, they needed it. They know he was proven, and it got him a World Series. Again, Chapman wasn't great for them, but they know they needed a closer. They did what they had to do to put their team over the hump. If I don't like when my team holds on the prospects, great. 5 years from now, if they make it, great, I'll be happy. But the 4 prior years when we didn't go far in the playoffs or didn't even make the playoffs and not win a World Series, well, was it really worth it? I don't know. If I can win a World Series this year, I want to do everything I can and win a World Series this year. I worry about the future when the future comes, because there's no guarantee that the future is going to be good. Let's see. Richard, how you doing, buddy? What the mouth do? Johnny Cueto, he's in this, I could see him as a back at the end rotation guy for the Yankees. I don't see the Mets. The Mets don't really need a rotation arm right now. We have enough depth as well. The Yankees could use him. Alan, I'm not a Yankee hater. It's just, I think prospects are what they are, prospects, Alan, bullpen is a problem. I mean, who do you trust in your Yankees bullpen? Chapman, who is a dumpster fire. He's basically just as bad as Edwin Diaz. Zach Britton is hurt. You don't know when he's coming back. Loizaga is your best bullpen arm. Chad Green had his worst year as a Yankee last year. No guarantee he's going to bounce back. Even if them two bounce back, you have really nobody else in your bullpen that you can count on. So, yeah, the bullpen is a problem. Yeah, I mean, Judge was one of those guys, absolutely. Severino was supposed to be one of those. If he's healthy, I think he's going to be fine. But there's no guarantee he's going to be healthy. And when Severino had the opportunity to perform in the playoffs, he did choke in the playoffs. Even with the great stuff he had, he didn't perform well in the playoffs. But if he's healthy, he's got the stuff to be a perfect number 2 behind Cole. Guys like Jordan Montgomery, Nestor Cortez, your 5th starter is probably going to be one of your young arms in, Schmidt or Gill or King, one of those. They all got great arms, but there's no guarantee when the league sees them a couple of times, can they adjust to what the league adjusts to them? That's the problem with any team, for that matter. You don't have the best bullpen. Please name me the bullpen arms. Zach Britton's not going to be here until probably June. Chapman is a guy, as soon as Spider Tech went away, couldn't control. He went 3 weeks when the Yankees couldn't trust him. Loizaga, your best bullpen arm. Chad Green had the worst year last year. Can he bounce back? Absolutely. But there's no guarantee. If I'm a Yankee hater, did you hear me bashing my Mets, or you take that out of your ear? That's the biggest problem. Listen to what I say. I bash my team just as much as I bash other teams. Oh, okay, Alan. Like Yankee fans, because Yankee fans always expect everything to be great. And then when things don't happen, you cry like little babies. Met fans always cry. We always have shit. That's the problem. Shit pours down on us. Yankee fans are getting a little reality check, just like every other baseball fan gets. Your bullpen is not very good. Gord, what's up, buddy? Like, look at your bullpen. It's not the best five. It's not the best five. It's not. It's really not. Not saying that any other team in your division has a good bullpen. You need bounce back years from those guys. Chapman's another year older. He relies on his 100 miles an hour fastball to work his slider in, to work his curveball in. Loizaga is your best arm in that bullpen. Your best arm. Britton is not there. Your best left-hander is not there. Derek, I probably agree with you, honestly. He's not going to live up to that contract. I mean, come on. If you believe that, everybody's naive if you believe that. There's no damn way Lindor's living up to that contract. Could he be better than last year? Yeah, it's an upgrade, but, I mean, he's not going to be Cleveland Lindor. I don't expect that to happen at all. Oh, I'm not worried about the Yankees, but I am getting questions about the Yankees. This is a Mets channel, but these guys have been on the stream for a couple of weeks now. I'm talking Yankees because there's Yankee fans in the chat. That's why. But yeah, believe me, if Jacob deGrom goes down, there's no chance of the Mets making the playoffs at all. I mean, I'll be watching the playoffs with the Mets playing golf. That's basically what's going on. But if you guys come into the stream and think I'm not negative towards my team and calling me a Yankee hater, I'm not. I praise the Braves, who I can't stand. I hate the Braves, the Phillies, and the Nationals a hell of a lot more than I hate the Yankees. The Yankees I don't care about because they're not in my division. The only time when I care about them is when we play them. That's it. I just feel passionate when you say that, just a lot of Met fans the same way. There's a lot of Met fans in the chat right now that have Met blinders on right now and thinking that their team's the best in the NL East when I don't believe that. You can't tell me that you're better than the Blue Jays when the Blue Jays made a lot of great moves to help their whole team, and then you weren't better than the Red Sox, you weren't better than the Rays, and the Blue Jays got better. So how are you the best team in the East when you're not? It's just, until you realize reality that you're not as good as, the Yankees of the past, you have to believe, you have to look at it. You have to look at it from a different perspective. You got to take a step back sometimes. Believe me, I take a step back all the time on my Mets teams. I was one of the most negative Mets fans last year when the team was in first place. Why? Because they couldn't score runs. Their pitching staff was holding up until the pitching staff got hurt, and then they fell apart, which was very well expected because our offense sucked last year. Okay, look, I want all you Yankee fans to come back midway part of the season and let me know if your bullpen's not a problem, because it is. It's not the dominant bullpen of a couple of years ago. It's not. It's not the same bullpen. It's not at all. And you got Aaron Boone as your manager, who wears out his bullpen before July comes around. He's done that every year he's been a manager. So that's the other issue. He wears them the hell out. Even when he had the best bullpen in the league, he wore him out because when he got to the playoffs, they got bombed. So, I mean, nobody's saying the Yankees are not going to make the playoffs. They probably are. But to tell me that they're the best team in the East, that's just not right. It's just, no. Absolutely. Loizaga is no joke. No freaking joke. Like, that guy can easily be a closer as soon as Chapman's gone. I mean, Loizaga popped out of nowhere. He's just perfect for you guys. The problem is, how much is Boone going to use him? That's the problem. Boone loves to take out his pitches in the 5th, 6th inning all the time, even when they're pitching great. I mean, how many times Cole had to give him the middle finger and say, go back in the dugout? I mean, if Aaron Boone can learn to save his bullpen at times to protect their arms and not tiring them out by August, maybe the bullpen would be better. Loizaga is a beast. And the worst part about the Yankees bullpen is that Zach Britton is down. And he is your bridge to Chapman, the 7th and 8th inning. And he's one of the better relievers in baseball. But he's not healthy right now, and that sucks for you guys. Robin, I don't think Philly's going to sign anybody. They might get another bullpen arm, but I don't think they're going to be a lot more. Brett, I tend to agree with you on that one. I 100% agree. You know what? You stick with your team through thick and thin. The team can piss you off, throw remotes at your TV, punch the wall, everything. Curse him out. That's what we do, right? You're not a baseball fan if you don't do that. Live and die by every pitch. We do that. I don't care what fan you are. Yankees, Mets, Brewers, Phillies. Who cares? We're all like that. Pirates. Nobody cares. We no matter, they can say that your team is projected to win 60 games. You will be on the Yes Network, on SNY, watching your team every night or going to games as much as you can, rooting on your team, even if you know they're going to be bad, because you love this, you love the game, you love your team. You suffer with your team. That's what we do. That's why sports is so freaking great. Alan, I tend to agree. I do. They're not trading Hader, but I want Hader. That I can want Hader. But it's probably not going to happen. Taylor Rogers of the Twins, different story. But then again, the Twins started to make moves, so I don't know if they're going to trade Taylor Rogers either, which pisses me off as a Met fan because I want either one of those guys. Christian, that was true. Same thing with Marte. There was a little bit about Marte, but not a lot. And then they signed those guys in what, a couple of hours? Again, solid moves, but not great moves. Hey, Bill, a member of Talkin Mets Rob. What's up, buddy? Yeah, the Phillies defense is they didn't get their defense is not better. It's just as bad as last year, but that lineup's gonna mash. Yeah, the Orioles suck. I'm sorry, the Orioles are terrible. I'll give you that, Alan. I mean, I don't know if they're better than last year. They could be, absolutely. If you get the bounce back year from Torres, you got rid of that damn butcher behind the plate in Sanchez. But the one thing about Sanchez offensively is that he'll hit you 25, 26 bombs, and you basically replace him with Donaldson's 25, 26 bombs, maybe 30 bombs. Kind of Falefa, you're going to love that guy. Gold Glover, he's not great offensively, but, he'll probably be a leadoff hitter when LeMahieu is out in the lineup. So, and leadoff Rizzo I like. I always liked Rizzo. Hopefully his age doesn't catch up to him and he hurts you guys. But Rizzo's a beast at first base. So, like I said, the Yankees, the problem is not that the Yankees aren't good. Are they going to be better than the teams in front of them that they weren't better than last year? And then the team that you were better than last year in the Blue Jays got better. They got better pitching. They got more hitting. You know, that's the problem. I don't know if the Yankees did enough. They had the opportunity to do a lot more to better this team. But that's why we play 162, right? You know, because the Braves weren't the best team in baseball, but they won the World Series. You know, it's it's crazy. Hey, Jose, how you doing? Brett and that's true. I think he had 152 hits last year. IKF. He's gonna be good for you guys. I like that. I like that. I like IKF more than the Donalds. You know, any player that the Yankees got, they're gonna get a lot. But IKF is probably gonna be the the best out of anybody you got in the lineup. Considering, you know, not power, but he's gonna be a better one of your better hitters in the lineup. And like the same thing, like what the Mets did, Marte, Kana, and Escobar, I was more excited about Escobar because he's more of a professional hitter. He's a solid hitter who can hit for power. Marte scares me because of his age. Kana is not that great. I like the Escobar signing more than Marte and Kana. Obviously, the Scherzer was a no-brainer, but for the position players, Escobar was a solid move for me. I like that move more than anyone. So it's always not the big signing or the big name in the trade that is gonna, you know, is gonna that's gonna be that good. IKF is gonna surprise a lot of Yankee fans. You're gonna love that guy. The same way when you got Didi Gregorius. Now, I don't think he's gonna hit the home runs like Didi Gregorius did and became a fan favorite because of that power that he showed when he went to the Yankees. But Yankee fans are gonna fall in love with IKF just like they did with Didi Gregorius. That's just my opinion. And he's also a speedster, absolutely, Brett. Sorry, guys. I'm just checking out the comments. I'm trying to catch up on all. Uh, Mets World Champions 2022. That would be nice, but I'm not as confident as you are. But Diaz, I'm not going to call him a great closer because that guy scares the hell out of me every time he pitches. But I mean, he's got the stuff. It's just that you know after the first two or three pitches, if he's nowhere near the plate, we're probably going to lose that game. Yeah, Alan, I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think so because Montaz, there's no chance the Yankees are probably going to get Montaz. You're probably going to have to give up a lot for Montaz. Manaya, possible. But again, Cashman's not the guy to give top 5, top 10 prospects for, you know, a Manaya who's probably a decent number 3, solid number 3. So, you know, I mean, the Mets for Bassett, who's a better pitcher than Manaya, gave up their 5th and 20th prospect for Bassett. So, considering what the Yankees have in their farm system, JT Ginn is probably put him in the Yankee system probably somewhere 9 or 10 in the Yankees farm system. So you could probably see for Montaz probably your 5th prospect and probably a 12th prospect. Manaya, you might get away with maybe a 9th or 10th prospect. Maybe. Oh, Robert, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. All right. I'm just looking at the comments, guys. Once again, guys, I'll be with you for another 10 minutes. We didn't really get any news on the free agent or trade front. There is options out there for both teams. You know, supposedly the Yankees were still in or talking to Oakland, but we heard that for the last couple of days now with Montas and Manaea. I would expect as a Yankee, if you're for you Yankee fans, Manaea more than Montas because of how much I think Cashman's willing to give up for a pitcher. For the Mets, I think they need to get Conforto. We need another bat in that lineup because the lineup is not that good. It's good, but not that good. And the Mets need a left-handed arm for sure. I'm going to try to go through the comments quick, guys, for the last couple of minutes of the stream. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I know it was a heated one today with Mets and Yankee fans, but you know what? That's baseball, right? All right. Christian, I don't know if they would platoon Conforto with Kana. I don't think they would, honestly. I mean, you might be right, but I wouldn't think so. All right, guys, I'm just checking out the rest of the comments here. Sorry about that spam, guys. I just blocked that person. All right. All right. Christ. Freaking spam people, man. So annoying. Yeah, you know what? I do have I have admins up there, and I have moderators and stuff. But yeah, some of them are not here right now. So, but Bill, I'll put you at the top of the list. Don't worry. All right. Study. I think still that he's gonna come back to the Mets. I think. Yeah, the White Sox are in on Conforto too, and that'll probably be a better spot for him, honestly. But the Mets need him at this point. That's the problem. Bill says we need left-handed pitching 100%. Grant, what's up, buddy? Member of Talking Mets are up. Any news? Really, no news. Not much at all. Robert, thank you very much, buddy. Really appreciate it. Yeah, Sean, I was quick on that one because I finally got down to the chat and I finally seen it. I'm like, I saw it and then I lost it. I had to find the freaking comment again so I can block that idiot. All right, so I caught up on all the comments, guys. I didn't get to everybody. I'm sorry. Brett, thank you so much, buddy. Like I said, I like your passion. That's what I'm talking about. That's all. That's what it's all about. That's why during the lockout and during the free agent frenzy after the lockout, I did more of a baseball channel than just a Mets channel because I felt like we dealt with so much crap during the lockout that a lot of baseball fans came together and got united and pissed off at the players, pissed off at the owners, and I was like, wow, this is fun. It's not always great to have a perspective from one fan base, in my opinion. You know, just because we don't agree doesn't mean we don't respect each other as baseball fans. And just because you think your team is good and another fan doesn't think the Yankees are good, or in my position, some people think the Mets are terrible, and I'm like, okay, maybe they're not that bad. You know, it's just fun to talk about it, you know, to get different perspectives. Because a lot of the time when you're a fan of a team, you get the, you know, in my case, the Mets sunglasses on, you know, the shades on, and, you know, you only see Mets colors, and you think everything's all sunshines and rainbows, and it's really not. And to get a perspective from somebody else outside who doesn't have that emotional connection, you know, kind of gives you a step back every now and then. Yeah, Sean, I know you. They keep on coming back. All right. So once again, guys, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And please, if you haven't hit on that like button yet, make sure you hit on that like button. So when this stream ends, the stream will go out to the top of the list for the replay. And whoever looks at the stream can see the arguments we were having all day in the chat. So it's always a lot of fun when we have these conversations, because passionate fans, no matter what team you are, is always a good conversation, especially when you have passionate fans in the same area with the Mets and the Yankees. It's kind of crazy. So it's always a lot of fun, guys. And hopefully you keep on coming back for more. Again, there's going to be a lot more live streams like the free agent frenzy, because it's going to revert back to a Mets channel, since the free agents are almost all signed, you know, at least the big names. And if there's any trades, yeah, we'll pop back on the stream. But, you know, I will be doing live streams during Met games and just doing random Met videos as well. And later on, at the end of the month, I will do projections on pretenders and contenders for the teams in 2022. So hopefully you guys check that out. So I see you guys still going after each other on the chat. Brett, the big move was Scherzer. Other than, you know, again, I like the Escobar move more than the Marte and Kana move, because Escobar, I think, is a solid player and is more of a professional hitter than probably anybody we have in this lineup. So look, again, just because any team looks good on paper doesn't mean they're going to be the best team in baseball or winning your division. That's why we played 162, baby. So once again, guys, I really appreciate all the support. Keep on coming back for more. Hit on that like button. Hit on that subscribe button. Once again, the news that we got yesterday was Carlos Correa, in a shocking news, went to the Twins for 3 years, $105 million, with an opt-out after each year. And the Phillies did sign Castellanos for 5 years, $100 million. And we can have fun. And hopefully, if you want the players that you want your team to get, hopefully we do. So once again, guys, really appreciate all the support. Have a good night, guys. If you're into the college basketball, March Madness, enjoy that. Have a good night, guys. Met fans, let's go Mets. Good night, guys.